Is there anything you want to say to Shirley and Steve? Is there anything you want to say to Shirley and Steve?
No. I'm just kidding.
No.
I met Shirley and Steve when I first got here, and I had no idea what to expect.
I think the first time I met them was at Shorty's. I thought it was really cool the first time I met them to see just how involved they were with students. You know, for one, really nice people.
Steve is the one that starts the conversation, and Shirley's the person that keeps the conversation in the right track, I guess is the best way to put it.
For Shirley.
And Shirley ran up to me. Shirley had no idea who I was. And Shirley just ran up to me and gave me a hug and just said, hi, welcome, welcome to our group. And she was just so welcoming.
Definitely like this sense of having to make sure that everyone's okay and everyone's fine and that everyone's taken care of. I really appreciated that from the get-go, so I thought that was pretty special.
She was just really personal. She was someone who really wanted to engage with you right off the bat. I remember she met me in my no-road dorm, like second weekend of college, and picked me up and we went to IHOP. And it was just like, who is this person?
Who is this person who just emailed me a novel about wanting to hang out? It was super great. I said yes, and then that was the beginning of the best thing ever, which is being friends with Shirley and Steve.
I think with Steve, wow.
Learned a little bit more about Steve, you know, as he persisted to throw things at me.
How you have to get used to Steve, for example. Like, at first you don't understand his sense of humor, so you're like, why does this guy keep bothering me? But over time, you understand it's like a part of who Steve is, and you begin to appreciate it.
Definitely someone you kind of have to catch on to his sarcasm and kind of throw it back, and then from there you're on the same level. I think I was scared of him for like the first 30 seconds, and then after that I think I caught on.
I walk into Steve, and I don't even think Steve said hi to me, he just looks at me. He just looked at me and judged me in the best way possible. I'm pretty sure I was wearing a teak shirt. He looks at me and goes, oh, so you're a teak. and I really didn't know how to take it. And after getting to know them, I totally understand that entire interaction.
I'm trying to think what my mom would let me get away with if she saw this video. I act like a grandfather, but I care sometimes.
Oh, there's a girl next to you. Are you a teak? Is that how that works?
Like those kids.
If I had someone to tap on the shoulder while they weren't looking, I would do that, but I don't, so this is my next best thing. Bethany, stop being so rowdy back there. Call the rowdy police on you.
Throwing things.
What?
Caleb is Steve, and I'm Shirley. Steve and Raimi.
In one word. How did he get hurt? Yeah, that's probably what I would go with.
I think godly. Caring and loving and compassionate.
Wow. Wow.
I think guardians is truly like the word. Me being out of state, you know, my parents being in another state, I think they've definitely like served in that role as far as making sure that I'm okay. And they always ask me also what's going on, you know, as far as like when I have events and stuff to come to and to be our cheerleaders. I think that's really special, and I appreciate that of them.
My word would have to be team, because although they pick a lot of fun at each other, they are a team, and I look up to them a lot because they always work together, and they're just a dynamic duo, and they're super great.
My word would have to be accepting, because they've built like this community of people who would have never met each other on campus otherwise, like from all different walks of life. And they've created this community that's just like a mishmash, but like it just somehow works because they're so accepting of all these people's differences.
Steve, in one word, is eccentric, and Shirley, in one word, is careful. Yes, and then together they are amazing.
My senior year in high school, and I came down for R3's last game as a Baylor Bear, and we played Texas. It kind of just solidified the reason that I was going to come to Baylor, just the excitement around the campus, and then Shirley and Steve, just overwhelming passion for the Baylor Bears kind of just set me up for knowing that these would be like super important people in my life for the next couple of years. So that was probably my favorite memory just because it was the first. There's obviously been great memories since then, but that's something I'll definitely remember for a while.
Most definitely, when we went to Beatlemania, and it was like probably just us and Trevor, I think. We were at the Waco Hippodrome, And it was like a father-son duo pretending to be the Beatles. It was incredible. They had horrible accents, but it was such a blast. We like sang along the whole time, and it was super fun.
My favorite memory would also have to be Beatlemania, but specifically the moment of Steve doing this dance for us, which was super awesome.
I think it takes a special person to invite 10 college students on a trip to Montana. Especially you, Steve, because you had 4 girls in the back seat of a minivan, and we were singing Disney songs really loudly, really off-key, but you only complained like 15 times.
I think more recently, my favorite memory with Shirley was when I decided it would be fun to make that mix of like honey and granola and cinnamon, whatever it was, and spread it on our faces. Have a homemade face mask, and all the guys like took pictures of us and like we made them touch our faces. It's fine. When we got them to fall in the river during whitewater rafting the second time around, like all of us ended up falling in at one point, like messing with each other. Definitely one of my more favorite memories.
If anyone remembers, I was overcome with this idea freshman year that I was having a pulmonary embolism. So I pulled Sarah and Bethany with me, and it was February, and it was an extra icy night. So by using our Baylor IDs to scrape the ice off of Bethany's windshield and, you know, going to Baylor Scott and White Hospital, I was like, maybe I should tell someone, like a mature adult, where I'm gonna be just in case something happens. I sent Shirley like a really casual text, hey, I'm not feeling too great, I'm going to the hospital, I'm probably fine. And we get to the hospital, and lo and behold, Shirley and Steve are standing there. I was just kind of shocked, and I was like, oh, you know, you didn't really have to come, but I'm glad you guys are here. It was just so amazing that, first of all, you guys even cared enough to show up, but you two sat with me in the waiting room for 7 hours. And even after Bethany and Sarah went back home, you guys just kept sitting there. And I remember Shirley was so concerned, and she kept asking me how I was feeling and if she could do anything. And Shirley was just like, Lauren, are you cold? And I'm like, oh, I mean, I'm a little cold, you know, I could go for a blanket. And I remember her just like walking out and being like, nurse, this girl needs a blanket. Until eventually she, I think, ended up just finding the blankets herself and giving me like 4. I remember at one point I look over at her and she's like, so, what are your symptoms right now? Like, how do you feel? I look over and she's like typing into WebMD, trying to figure out what I have, and me just being at the hospital like this woman that I don't even know is diagnosing me on WebMD. It was such an amazing first impression to have these people that I don't even know spend 7 hours of their night just sitting with me, supporting me, and waiting with me, and like making sure that every one of my concerns was completely covered.
I think after spending 3 days in the car with him, he is their #1 child. He's a little cutie, as much as I don't like to admit it sometimes, but it's weird to think of the group without him.
I feel like Leroy's the protector. Leroy is the one that makes sure that no one gets too rowdy, makes sure that no one goes off track, and if you do, he's gonna start barking. He's gonna start barking, he's gonna start attacking.
Well, I got to take care of Leroy one time, so Leroy to me was like my pseudo dog when I am not allowed to have a dog until I graduate. He is there mostly so that we don't yell too loud when we're watching Baylor games because he just barks all the time. So I think that's actually what his main role is.
He's always there to pose for pictures. He's always there for someone to pet him or to sit on someone's lap, and he just adds a little happiness that
I think everyone can engage with, and has like these unique moments or these personal moments that like are very brief, but they're very special.
Shirley and Steve, being some of the first people that I met here, kind of gave me a family down here. You know, my entire family is all the way across the country, and especially when I first moved here, I felt like I didn't have a family here. And even from the first time meeting Shirley and Steve, they welcomed me with open arms. You know, they let me know that, you know, you have people here, you have family here. My family away from my home family. That's been one of the coolest things to have throughout my college experience.
You two had a really big impact on my Baylor experience. And to this day, when people ask me what I'm doing or who I'm referring to, or why did you go to Waco this weekend, Lauren? And it was to go spend time with my Baylor parents. You guys were so supportive and loving and gave me so much amazing food that I could never thank you enough.
Shirley and Steve really added to my college experience by creating a place where we could go and we could be ourselves and we could just have a good time and have an outlet that was outside of our, you know, our normal Baylor bubble.
They're like my second parents. I think that's the best way to describe it. I think coming in and meeting such generous people, and we have nothing to give them, I think at the end of the day, and I guess that's what this is for, and really seeing how they've impacted our lives and really just been such kind spiritual figures, and really just been there in and out for us. I know they've been in and out there for me.
Shirley and Steve, thank you. Thank you for everything that you've given me. Thank you for bringing us all together. Thank you for providing us with this little family, home away from home. It's really made our college experience something special.
You are some of the most wonderful, kind people I've ever met. And I think what makes you so special is that you're interested in our lives and invested in what we do with them. You really do make us feel like we are part of a big family.
Steve taught me that men are superior to women. That's definitely impacted my life. And Shirley's just actually been a nice person in comparison to Steve, so that's always been nice. No, in all reality, I've had some big ups and downs since I've been at Baylor, and they've never treated me any different. I think that's just something that I'll always cherish, is that they are just true friends, even though I've definitely made some mistakes while I've been here. So that's definitely something that's impacted me throughout the way.
They showed how much they cared about someone that they hadn't met before, and that's the image that I got of Baylor afterwards, after that event. And I think that really set the scene for the rest of my college experience, knowing that we're just a family, and even if you don't know them and you've gotten to know them in the recent weeks or months, they're still part of you, and you still have to take care of them like they're your brother or sister.
Thank you, Shirley and Steve, for everything you've done for us and for bringing us all together and giving us a community to be a part of.
Thank you for just being there, being active in our lives, just having a presence and always seeking to do more and more for us. Not many people have that, and it's definitely something that I don't take for granted. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Shirley and Steve, for everything that you've done for us. We are just incredibly blessed to have you in our lives and to know you. You've taught us so much, and it's been an invaluable time.
I'd like to thank them for everything that they've done for all of our group, for bringing us together. Even though I was somewhat hesitant at first, and I kind of flaked out on the first couple times going to Shorties, I wish I hadn't, because now I cherish every moment that we get to hang out with them, whether it be watching Baylor lose to South Carolina in the worst basketball game I've ever seen, or anything like that. So just thank you guys for your hospitality to all of us, and I look forward to coming back to games as an alumni and seeing you guys.
I can't thank you guys enough for the impact you had on my life and for just being the type of people that you are. I mean, I can't really name any other person who would just be like, that random 18-year-old right there, I want her to be a part of my family. And that random 18-year-old, I'm going to go sit with her in a hospital for 7 hours because she thinks she might have a problem. Thank you so much for being who you are and for doing this thing that you do when you just accept students and really make them your own and love on them as much as you can.
Thank you for everything. I definitely think this is like a sappy senior moment, making this video and being a part of it. It's definitely a new chapter, a new adventure. You've done so much for us, and I guess I don't really know how to thank you.
You guys are incredible. You're amazing, and I'm so thankful for everything that you've done for me. I can't wait to continue to be a part of your life.
Just thanks, guys, for this experience, and getting to know you has been a great pleasure. And hopefully one day all of us can carry the Baylor tradition like you have, and we can do it in your name.
Thank you, Shirley and Steve!
Thank you, Shirley and Steve.
Thank you, Shirley and Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.